tourists were yesterday when you were coming in from the airport?
Oh, yes.
ASEAN is coming up with a long-term vision. How we will be working together among all the countries within ASEAN, and how we will be able to work with our external partners. So this ASEAN Community Vision 2045 could be considered a strategic roadmap, could be a strategic guide, how ASEAN will charter the future. And with the adoption of the Asean Community Vision 2045, so let me open a new chapter in Asean community building. But these strategic plans, the 4 strategic plans, will not be implementing until next year, meaning that we will continue to finish up the implementation of the current blueprints. And of course, now we are undertaking the review, what we call the end-term review of the blueprints, so that we get some lessons learned, and then of course when we start to implement the strategic plans, we will have even a better idea. So I want to come back that this is very bold, very strategic, very visionary of ASEAN leaders, that they are able to come up with this 20-year vision at a time when there's so much uncertainty, global uncertainty, at a time when we see the shifting in economic and political dynamics at the global level. But I think it also to reflect, to show that ASEAN has the confidence in the future in chart its own course. That ASEAN is not reactive, ASEAN is not taking a fragmented approach, but rather, or piecemeal approach, but rather a very strategic, comprehensive approach in the way in leading this region into the future. At the same time, ASEAN is inviting the external partners, particularly the dialogue partners, the sectoral dialogue partners, and development partners, and other external partners to work closely with ASEAN. Because ASEAN, we have to believe in ourselves, in what we do. And that's what the leaders are trying to do, is that continue to assert the ASEAN centrality and to assert the role of ASEAN as the key stabilizing force in the region through the ASEAN-led mechanisms, and to project this positive role that ASEAN has been playing over the years to make sure that the region remains peaceful, stable, and secure, so that we continue to prioritize prosperity as a top priority of ASEAN on the agenda. In other words, this prosperity agenda is what we focus on the interests of our people in the region. So that's why I think our leaders are meeting this time at the critical juncture to discuss the impact of the current global dynamics, particularly the economic dynamics, that's right now very confusing and very disruptive. And I think it's important that ASEAN come together with all the leaders will be present, and they will have collective wisdom and collective leadership under the chairmanship of Malaysia.
Dr. Kao, what are your expectations here as Secretary General on the KL Declaration of the Asean Community Vision, which will be signed tomorrow?
Well, my reaction, of course, would be I am truly pleased with the work that finally has produced a concrete result, concrete outcome with the Asean Community Vision 2045 and 4 strategic plans. And of course, the leaders will be adopting the KL, the Kuala Lumpur Declaration. After, the work by all the ASEAN member states, particularly Malaysia has been leading this as the permanent shepherd, the co-chair of the whole process. So I think this work is very, very significant in terms of giving a clear direction where ASEAN should be heading into the future. So I think this is like a major compass for ASEAN. So that all ASEAN member states, all ASEAN pillars and sectoral bodies will have to follow. So it's not just one country, but all countries and all the different parts of ASEAN will have to work together to make sure that we implement the various parts of these strategic, we call it the strategic goals, strategic measures that outline in the Asean Community Vision 2045. So I'm pleased that this year we're able to have this. Of course, the leaders will be adopting, and moving forward is that the priority will focus on the implementation and how this implementation will benefit ASEAN member states, ASEAN communities, and ASEAN people, and of course our partners within ASEAN, and of course our external partners as well.
Dr. Kao, you mentioned just now the Asean Community Vision here would be akin to a compass on how ASEAN can move forward. What direction do you see ASEAN moving towards? Like what kind of vision do you envision there with the adoption of this?
Yeah. Well, I think the goal is to become a stronger, more united, more integrated community with the people-centered, people-oriented direction, meaning that ASEAN is all about people. So what's important is that how we address all of these key issues coming up now: energy transition, digital transformation, impact climate change, emerging technologies and AIs, all of this. So it's important that we have to work together among all the member states, but of course how we bring all the different stakeholders cut across, political security, economic, social, cultural pillars, for example, how they work together. Because a lot of things we have to be mindful of the fact that we need to work together, particularly in terms of collaboration, coordination. The same thing, for example, what we're talking about now is to, produce a positive long-term impact. So under the theme, again, inclusivity and sustainability, these two words meaning that, number one, we should not leave anyone behind or left out. Number two, we have to talk about the future generations, sustainability, meaning that what we will do, it cannot be only for the present generation, but for the future generation as well. So I think this is the community that we talk about being dynamic, being innovative, being resilient, and of course forward-looking, is to really to make sure that ASEAN continue to move in direction that will build up a community for the people, and of course through generations to come. Because I think ASEAN right now, the population growth will continue until 2038. So the youth not peaking yet until 2038. So the population will continue to grow, and we have to be able to respond. So meaning that ASEAN has become more adaptive, more responsive to the needs and interests of our people.
Is there a mechanism or how the implementation will be measured?
Yes. Again, like what I mentioned, there are 4 strategic plans. Each strategic plan, they have their own mechanism. That the main one, of course, they have many other sub-mechanisms. So basically, we're looking at the sectoral body ASEAN that will be the ones that will implement the strategic measures under their respective sectoral body. And of course, there'll be a lot of coordination also, because there are certain strategic measures that will be more than within one pillar or within one sector. There are more than that, so they have to coordinate a lot. At the same time, we'll have a built-in what we call the review mechanism. So it will be a regular review to make sure that this Vision 2045 and the 4 strategic plans will be evolving and will be dynamic in the sense that it will be adaptive, responsive, and of course to make sure that this is not static, but rather it will be responding to the evolving situation. So meaning the overall environment, be it economic, social, cultural, political security. So again, I think ASEAN is, with 58 years of history, it had been through so much already of all the challenges, right, within the region, the challenges, the impact from outside the region as well. So I think we have the generational leadership from the beginning till now. So ASEAN is continuing to evolve in that direction. I think with this 20-year vision, I think is a clear direction. I think we're telling all the ASEAN stakeholders where we're heading, but at the same time our partners, so that they don't guess what direction we take or what we're going to do. So I think we create a strong, more trusted partnership through this open, inclusive process.